Yesterday, multiple bands from our viewing area competed in the Greenbrier East Spartan Classic and the Woodrow Wilson Soaring Sounds Band competitions. These competitions are two of the many invitationals in the Governor's Cup Marching Band Series. We had 9 high school bands from our area competing in the Spartan Classic and 8 bands in Soaring Sounds. James Monroe competed in Spartan Classic, then Liberty competed in Soaring Sounds. Shady Spring, Pikeview, Princeton, Bluefield, Summers County, Independence, and Greenbrier West went back-to-back and competed in both. Woodrow Wilson performed and competed in both as well. There was a variety of shows that the bands performed. The bands were in different classes ranging from D to A. Classes are divided up by number of students in each band. Then A and B class bands are sectioned into Division I, and C and D bands are in Division II. A judge at a previous Governor's Cup competition spoke with me about how judges score the bands.
There are different captions that are evaluated at each performance. The band as a whole, we have our music, our visual, and our general effect. And then we combine those scores and it makes the band's score. Then you have the individual sections, the majorettes, the guard, the drum major, the percussion section, and they have different captions as well.
Now that we understand how bands are scored, let's see how our schools did in these competitions. To explain awards, in each image you'll see. After the score, there will be letters in parentheses. SC will stand for Spartan Classic, and SS will stand for Soaring Sounds. Now that we have addressed that, we'll start with our Class D schools. Liberty received second place for drum major at the Soaring Sounds competition. Independence received first place at the Spartan Classic and third at Soaring Sounds for the drum major category. Greenbrier West received third place at Soaring Sounds for percussion, and then second and third for band at the different competitions. Lastly, in Class D, Summers County received first place at the Spartan Classic for auxiliary, first at Spartan Classic and second at Soaring for percussion, and then third at Spartan and second at Soaring for band. Now, before we move on to our Class C schools and their scores, let's go into why band competitions are so important for these students. Woodrow Wilson's band director explains how it's both educational and bringing the community together.
I think it's very important. The kids love them. It's a great drive for them. Competition sometimes is the best teacher. But other than that, it also gives a lot of the students a chance to kind of mingle and interact with a bunch of students from other bands and kind of network out there and grow their social circle.
Now to see how our bands did in Class C. Shady Spring received third place at Soaring Sounds for auxiliary and second for drum major. And then second and third for band at the different competitions. They were also named the second runner-up in Division II at Soaring Sounds. Bluefield received first place at Soaring Sounds for percussion, first at both competitions for drum major, and third at Spartan and second at Soaring for band. They were also the Division II first runner-up at Soaring Sounds. Pikeview received first place at Spartan Classic and Soaring Sounds for auxiliary, third for percussion, and third for drum major at Soaring Sounds, and then first at both competitions for band. They also received first place soloist for the flute solo at the Spartan Classic, and then they received overall dance team and were named the Division II Grand Champion at Soaring Sounds. And for both competitions, they were the Class C champion. Since Woodrow hosted Soaring Sounds, they only performed an exhibition at that competition. They did, however, compete in the Spartan Classic. Woodrow Wilson received second place at Spartan Classic for band, and then they received second place overall majorettes and first place for overall twirler. Princeton received first place for all of the categories in Class B at both the Spartan Classic and Soaring Sounds competition, as you can see on your screen. They also received first place soloist for their trumpet solo at both competitions. Then they were named the Division I first runner-up at Soaring Sounds, and for both competitions, they were the Class B champion. Now that we have seen our bands individually in their respective classes, divisions, and various overall awards, you may be asking, how did the Governor's Cup Marching Band Series start? Well, the Cabinet Secretary of the Department of Arts, Culture, and History explains.
There's really a nice history to this. We do the Save the Music grant in West Virginia. We're the only state that it's the entire state. Save the Music has put 156 sets of instruments in middle schools. That's like 38 instruments in each school, $40,000. It's $6,240,000 worth of free instruments in the middle schools in West Virginia. We have about 24 more to fund. And so from that, we've been doing that for 16 years, but we didn't have funding for high schools, so we started the Governor's Cup, and we give away probably about $80,000 a year in funding for high school bands so they can help get some wonderful instruments or help with any of their expenses.
With the placements in the Governor's Cup and receiving class champion status for these competitions, these schools will receive funding for their programs and points for the overall Governor's Cup standings. Now let's see how our schools did in yesterday's performances for the overall Governor's Cup. Bands in WAY's viewing area dominated in the overall Governor's Cup standings in the Spartan Classic. Bluefield was 4th runner-up, Woodrow was 3rd runner-up, Shady Spring was 2nd runner-up, Princeton was 1st runner-up, and the overall grand champion was Pikeview. Now we head over to Raleigh County to check out the overall Governor's Cup standings from Soaring Sounds. Shady Spring was 4th runner-up, Bluefield was 3rd runner-up, Princeton was 2nd runner-up, and lastly, Pikeview was 1st runner-up. You can visit WAY.com to see all the scores from yesterday's competition. If you're a band director in our viewing area and wish to share scores and upcoming competition that your band is doing, please email me at the email address at the bottom of your screen. As the band season goes on, I will continue to cover it and highlight our high school band members and their accomplishments.